Oops. Okay. We are live? Yeah, we're live. All right, here we go. We're good. Just going to give us a second for some of you to join in. And I'm posting a message I did on TikTok. So I don't know if you're on TikTok. I don't know. If you're on TikTok and you're in the comments and you're here watching and you're here not in the future, just post your at on TikTok and I'll add you. Otherwise, I'm just going to add a whole random group of people who follow me, who some of them I know and some of them I haven't the slightest clue who you are. But, And for those of you who don't know, because I explained this once on a feed before, I'm very much against TikTok. But unfortunately, the way marketing and branding is done in the modern world, we have to give all our information to the Chinese Communist Party first. So I have a burner phone. Not burner phone, it's an American phone. It's registered in the US. And I decided, since there's no information on that phone anyways, I'll put the stupid TikTok there. And of course, it's going to link to Instagram and all my other stuff, and probably data mining everything I have in my life. So maybe I'll send a message to Xi Jinping in here as well, who I'm not a fan of. All right, there we go. Oops, turn that down. TikTok, I think, is posted or posting now. And what's my TikTok? Good question. What is my TikTok? It is. There you go. BJdichter. How original is that, right? At BJdichter is my TikTok, and I've been on for 2 weeks, and I have like 1,500 followers, of which I'm sure 99% of them are bots and completely fake, because that's how TikTok works, right? It's not. It's very funny. I understand how people get addicted to actually watching stuff on TikTok. It's noise, but I can see people get that sense of gratification. You can tell it's programmed that way to make you feel that there's more people watching you than actually are. So it is what it is. Let me just type the www dot. What should I put in my because I've linked it to Instagram. So what should I put in Instagram? www.honkingforfreedom.com. How about that? And if you haven't been to www.honkingforfreedom.com, you should go there. That's the website for the book launch. And we may be putting up the dates for live events, because it looks like we're going to have quite a few of them. Sounds like we're going to have a live book launch event, speaking event, whatever you want to call it, in BC, in Quebec, Massachusetts, maybe Florida, and next on the list are Texas and California. But one thing at a time. Anyways, good morning, all of you, and it's so good to have you all here. Alex, Shelly, David, good to see you again, brother. Amanda, good morning. And Amanda, I have some news for you in a second. I'll talk about that in the stream. And Alex and Keith, Robin, everybody, thank you all for being here. I just got to open up the locals. So just a little explanation for locals, what's going on for people who don't know. Honkingforfreedom.locals.com is my locals community, and the idea of that is for to avoid any sort of censorship problems. And Beth is there, so I'm going to say good morning, Beth, in the chat. That is censorship resistant, I guess, if you'd say, and kind of a hedge against what happens on platforms like YouTube. However, there's some sort of glitch I've now run into, because I don't know why I can't. I'll be able to post again when I reset, so we're just trying to figure out. I might leave it predominantly for exclusive content, and just link the YouTube for the live streams and a whole bunch of stuff. Keith, are you on Rumble? Yes, but I don't have what's called the RMTP settings for live streaming on Rumble, because you got to reset it every time. which is a little bit of a pain. So, but I am. It does upload to Rumble, and I will figure out a way to incorporate that in my system and process to live stream there, I think. The problem is I have to make this like really quick. I can't have lots of prep time beyond like 20 minutes. And I can't make this into a whole like production fiasco. Otherwise, it'll take over my life. I know from producing other stuff. You got to keep it simple, stupid. If not, then it just becomes a project on top of a project. Patricia Schwartz, hi from the Netherlands. Hey, it's good to see you. Say hello to some of those farmers that we love in the Netherlands so much who aren't taking crap. And, Jordan Peterson told me on the phone, he said, when we were having a regular call, what were we using? Zoom. It wasn't phone, it was over Zoom. And he said to me, that the Dutch farmers learned a lot from the Freedom Convoy. They watched the Freedom Convoy, and that's what, motivated them to mobilize and to start their protests. And they realized some of the traps that they could avoid, which, it pretty much decentralization is the key. And so luckily they've done that, and I think they are still successful. And we would have been successful as well in Canada had certain people not meddled in things and caused a lot of problems. But I'll be talking about that in my testimony when it's relevant, which is going to be next week, by the way. So, and Beth, good morning. Libby, good morning on Locals. Thank you for joining. Not clear video image, and there's breaking up in the stream. I don't know. You know what, Beth, I tried to clear all the RAM as much and cache for my computer. That might be a Locals thing, or it might be on your end. You might need to just reboot your browser. That might do it. I don't know. But if you end up trying that and it's better, let me know. Okay, now it seems better. All right, great. The tech support portion of the stream is done. I'm glad I was here to help you, Beth. Now Libby says the same thing. I don't know. I don't know. I failed this tech support. Anyways, but I love you all. Thank you for being here. And you're all awesome. Damus Promise. Oh, thank you very much, brother, for being here. So Damus has been streaming the commission on his channel every day, unfiltered, not commentary. Just he's been putting it up there, and I've been listening to that as well as a few other people. And I want to thank you for doing that, because it's important that we get all of what's going on in the commission on everybody's radar, and that we don't allow people to distort what's going on and maybe insert some narratives that aren't correct, which we've seen a lot of it. And I'm just going to say one thing in general before I start, that what you're seeing in the commission, everything you're seeing is a lie. Like, everything's a lie. And the worst part is, like good liars, there's always 30% truth in their lie, right? That's what you're seeing the entire time. And there's so many examples of it. I could sit down for 10 hours and break down everybody and say where they're lying. And it's really frustrating for me to listen to this and like, what are you going to do? But that's why this whole positive framing is important, so it doesn't get you. So it doesn't really get to me. It's annoying. I'm in the truck driving, listening. I'm like, that's not what happened. It's so funny. But anyways, it's lots of fun, and it is what it is. So Alberta Blue Skies from Southern Alberta. Where in Alberta are you? Let me know. I'd like to know. I hear Southern Alberta is beautiful. I know as far up as Grand Prairie and Medicine Hat, and as far south as I haven't really gone farther south than Calgary. But anyways, it is what it is. Hopefully we'll do that soon. Okay. I'll be doing the same soon. I thought I'd wait until the bugs are kicked out. Not that I like Twitter, but we need to keep an eye on the enemy. Okay, so yeah, let's just talk about that. Twitter has been taken over by Musk, and I think we're going to see there's going to be a lot more, not necessarily friction, but you're going to see more people across the board. It's not just going to be the echo chamber for the radical extremists on the left that have polluted politics. So yeah, that's that's why I stuck with Twitter for so long, and because once I saw Musk was trying to buy it, I figured it was only a matter of time, and it worked out. So yeah, and Patricia Schwartz says, yes, the Canadian truckers showed us the way. I'm glad we did, and we did what we could, and the messaging is important. That was my primary focus. And I hope it helped, and I wish you all lots of luck, and I would love to get over to the Netherlands, and I've told my team that's setting up all the speaking events, I said to them, listen, I would go to Europe. If anybody wants to do a book event and all that sort of stuff in Europe, I'm there. We're just got to make sure it doesn't cost me everything I have to fly all over the world to do this stuff, but I'm more than willing to come there, and I would love to have the opportunity to see people in the Netherlands. So first, just a quick reminder, and I touched on it before, this is the Freedom Coffee Livestream, and this is the space where we acknowledge and celebrate the freedoms that we have, our natural right freedoms, and we work on expanding our freedoms in the future, and we kind of look at what's going on with the Commission, what's happening in the world, and look at it from a positive frame and how things are going to change for the better, because I think they are. I think things are really going to get better. We already see the signs of it. Musk taking over Twitter is a good example. You saw he's been firing people already. Parag was fired almost immediately. I think he was the first one to go. And because people, doesn't matter where they're on the political spectrum, they're just getting tired of all the extremist rhetoric. So that's good. That's good that everybody is starting to wake up and say, okay, enough of this nonsense. So I think we're going to be good. Please like, share, subscribe this stream. Post it wherever, it just takes time for the algorithm to pick it up. I haven't shared this stream with my Substack yet, which we have a Substack going out this weekend on the book and a whole bunch of stuff, just because I wanted to grow a little bit organically first, and I want to get a little bit better at doing what I'm doing because, yes, I'm here rambling, but I love to have you all here and talk to you in the comments. Jerry says, did you see Trudeau claiming they initiated the Emergency Measures Act inquiry to show Canadians why they needed to use the Emergency Measures Act? Well, that's not circular logic. Had he not told me a few days ago it was part of a process, I wouldn't have known he's lying. If I didn't know that mostly Canadians don't know either, he's such a POS, and I don't think you mean point of sale. 100%. That's just what political parties always do. Control the messagings, right? Hey, do you use to stream to many places? What do you use to stream many places? Are you just embedding? I've tried a couple of them before. I tried OBS and I tried OBS Streamlabs, and now I've settled on Ecamm. In case I ever want to do interviews, Ecamm's is the one that allows you to do it more easily. So we'll see. Sonia, it's frustrating to listen to. I guess you're talking about the Commission. I mean, can you imagine what it's like for me? Because I know when they're lying, when each one of them are lying. Like when slowly he's trying to have it both ways. He's trying to make the political apparatus happy, so he can apply for jobs in the future. So he's lying about the Freedom Convoy. Yet at the same time, they're trying to throw him under the bus and pin him with all the blame. Like it's so funny, You turn the lights on, the cockroaches scatter. That's what we're seeing. Slowly said that the executive directors of the OPS have a history of breaching confidentiality, so he didn't give the detailed plan. What does that tell you? You know what it tells me, Brenda? You know what they're doing? They're having discussions about a plan, to have a plan for discussions, to discuss more plans for planning discussions, and having discussions about plans to discuss plans. In other words, not my problem. Everybody was deferring it to somebody else, and nobody had the balls to actually come talk to us, and just come, hey, let's what can we do? Who do you want to talk to in the government? How can we make that happen? I mean, that's really, that would have been an amazing step for like a politician to, talk. Like, not all they do. They don't do anything. They just talk. But in this scenario, they weren't able to talk because Prime Minister Blackface Diversity was hiding. It is what it is. Okay, I'll get back to the comments in a second. So a couple of things. Book launch event. We have the venue secured. Let's see if this one doesn't get canceled like the first one does. First one did. It's going to be on November the 7th. This is in Toronto. Okay, so I mentioned when I started, there's a bunch of other cities coming on board with potential to do things. So we got a city in BC, one in Quebec, a couple in Ontario, Massachusetts. That's a Bitcoin one. Oh, and if you're in Ottawa, November 1st, I'm going to be at Capital Bitcoin. That's the Bitcoin crew in Ottawa. I'm going to be there, maybe speak for a few minutes and just thank everybody. Have some beer, some beer. Well, I won't have beer, and some pizza, and hang out. So if you're in Ottawa around the time of the commission, that will be the day before or 2 days before I actually testify. So yeah, it'd be great to see all of you. So if you're there. So today, for the November 7th event in Toronto, that's kind of the book launch event, because the books will start shipping on November the 11th, on Remembrance Day. That is, we're going to be sending out an email today to everybody on the Honking For Freedom.locals.com list. Everybody who's subscribed there, they're going to be the first ones to have the opportunity, because there's only, I think its capacity is 80 people. It's a small venue, which is exactly what I wanted. There'll be drinks and bar and all that sort of stuff. But so I'm going to send an email out to the honkingforfreedom.locals.com today or tonight sometime. And then in the beginning of the week, we'll be sending it to, if there's still tickets remaining, which I would assume there are, because there's, I don't know, 500 people who subscribe to the locals, something like that. I imagine, just experience in marketing, it's going to be a small percentage. Maybe we'll sell 20 tickets to people on the honkingforfreedom.local.com. Maybe 25, and then we'll send it to everybody on the list for. We'll do it in a Substack. To everybody subscribes to Substack, which is BJdichter.substack.com. There will be an embedded link to get a ticket there, and order your ticket there, and then hopefully we'll have everybody will be. Who wants to come will be able to come. We'll have it all sold out. If it sells out pretty quickly, then we'll look at doing more events. There is one we're looking at in Western Ontario with somebody else, and I'll talk about that more soon. And I think I've asked my developer to put it on the honkingforfreedom.com website, the list of dates that we're going to be having events, get-togethers, book launches, whatever you want to call it, book signings, I guess. I don't know. I just want to come out and thank you, and I want to come out and thank all those wonderful people who are by the side of the highway that were putting a tear to my eye. And so it is what it is. Ronald says, lying just like the January 6th commissions in the U.S. Yes, we are seeing a lot of that. You're seeing a couple of political parties going at it, and that's probably why it's nothing but deception. It is what it is, right? Okay, so yesterday we talked about the 5-minute journal, but I'll get to that in a second, the next stage. And this is, part of the reason I can be driving my truck and listen to them lie through their teeth and not lose my mind. It's so funny. And, they are what they are, and that's it. Good morning, Kim. Just joined. Well, Kim, you haven't missed much other than me trying to be as sweet and loving to all of you, and to thank you all for being here, by the way. I really appreciate it. Okay. Sonia says, oh, my God, I can't imagine how it is for you. It's so annoying. Yesterday, when I was on... Yesterday, the day before... Was it yesterday? I got home at 4 in the morning, so I'm a little fuzzy. I was driving on Highway 390... and driving across, mountainous area, beautiful river on the side. The scenery is absolutely gorgeous in that part of the country. And I'm listening to this OPP commissioner. Was the OPP? I think it was the commissioner. Just lying through his teeth. Some of it was true. Some of it was partially true. And then the others, completely, can't. Just tell the truth. Just tell the truth, right? We screwed up. That's it. We screwed up. It was a mistake. You put that in the report and give us recommendations for the future. That's it. But Everybody wants a job in politics. Well, you know who doesn't want a job in politics? I don't want a job in politics. I don't care. So I'm going to be as straight with you as I humanly possibly can. I'm sure they'll try to put restrictions and object to me saying things and try to prevent me from answering things or cut me off because they don't want me to tell everything that's gone on, but I will do my best to plow through that. And I will likely be there with my lawyer, which I haven't announced who that is yet, but that might upset some people. Okay, so let's talk about jerry cans. Let's talk about trucks and jerry cans. Because I heard when I was in the truck, and then I heard the same thing yesterday with slowly. Only an idiot in government at like that high level of government can come up with such stupid conclusions, okay? And what I mean is this. So first, let's backtrack a little bit. Why were there... Trish has got to go. Okay, we'll see you, Trish. You can watch this after. Why were there jerry cans in Ottawa to begin with? What was the point? Well, the reason was we actually hired a fuel distribution company, a fuel truck, and I think it was a smaller truck, like a pickup type truck with a tanker in the back sort of thing. And like the size, those of you who live in rural areas, you know the septic tank trucks. It's like a pickup truck with a big tank on the back. Sometimes there'll be a slightly heavy duty, like a Ford F-350 type truck or whatever. So you had one of those trucks that was going to go because the lanes weren't all blocked. So they were going to go through the open lanes and just fuel up every truck so people didn't freeze to death. That was the idea. So the truck's going to go around every day and just keep fuel in the truck so everybody is okay. Most people have APUs. For those of you who don't know, auxiliary power unit. It's a separate small little engine, usually in front of the drive wheels. And so they don't run the main engine to keep warm. They'll run the APU just to keep heat inside the truck, right? So it's super efficient. They can sit there for weeks doing that sort of thing. So we're going to have the fuel truck going around fueling up the tanks of the truck so they could keep their APU units going so people didn't didn't freeze to death, and people who had their kids there didn't freeze to death as well. Ryan C7, hey buddy, was the fuel truck driver who got ticketed even though they stopped him with an empty tank? Maybe. I don't know. I don't know specifically that. I think Johnny was in charge of, because remember, I was dealing with Tamara and the lawyers a little bit. Well, a little bit. The lawyers, there's a lot of yelling at the lawyers. But Tamara, lawyers, a little bit of the road captains, and my team, the media team, and pretty much. So there was a team that was working under, I think it was Johnny was doing the fuel, if I'm not mistaken, and really nice guy. Really nice guy. And so he was in charge of the whole, network of people doing the fuel. So who it was, I don't know. I really don't know. I'm sure I'll find out when I get to Ottawa. So the idea was this truck's going to go around, keep fuel in the truck so people don't freeze to death, right? That was a problem for the government of Canada and the Ottawa police. They wanted people to freeze to death. So what did they do? They blocked the fuel trucks, the little fuel truck, from getting in to refuel all the tractor trailers. So we're stuck. We're like, oh crap. And hindsight's 2020. We wouldn't have thought that law enforcement would be that cruel and try to violate like the basic tenets of human rights by trying to freeze people, but that's what they did. Okay. So what's the next solution? All right, let's get some jerry cans. That's the only thing we can do. And we pondered that for a good half a day. What are we going to do? We're trying to figure out different solutions. And the only solution we could get to, because the only thing they would allow us to do was walk in and out of downtown. So much for it being a legal blockade, because everybody could come and go as they pleased. So that's also part of the bullshit narrative of the government that was a blockade. So we thought, okay, since we can only use feet, well, let's get some barrels, some wagons. We'll put some jerry cans on them. The jerry cans will go around and give enough fuel so people can keep warm overnight. And then we saw what happened, that the police They meant, I want to say it, but I have enough contacts in policing, and I know that was Chief Slowly, and that was his last decision as a police officer, because he made them look like a bunch of a-holes. And he was told, okay, now you are going to be sitting in the corner here. You will be resigning when this is all over. And at that point, Ottawa and RCMP and OPP took over the planning and operations. And then the city council tried to find another police officer who was smart enough after 24 hours to say thanks, but no thanks. And then they finally got the bald Anita Sarkeesian, Steve Bell, to be the interim police chief. That's how it all kind of went down. So anyways, but the thing that stuck out of me, and from all the testimony coming from, I don't know, the commissioner of the OPP, Chief Slowly, all of them, what are they saying? If you've noticed, they've all been saying one thing, all right? And only a moron in government could say something like this in this scenario. And you got to think about it for a second. Hold on. Kiss Junkie, I haven't been able to view on Locals for a while now. I'm having an issue with Locals. I've posted this stream in Locals, and there's a live chat, and I can respond. See, hey, I'm here. It's streaming to Locals, but there's a live chat in Locals. So, and that should be in your window. It should be on your screen if you're on your computer. Okay, legal representation for truckers. Let me on Locals. Hold on. Let me get back to you for 1 second because I will get to you. Okay. All right. So here's the problem with all of them. They've all been saying one common thing, which was this is the excuse they've come up with, which is complete nonsense and BS. Well, our concern with the fuel cans was, well, we had fuel going around, and that could be a public safety issue. It's always safety, right? Authoritarians always take power because of safety. The Berlin Wall was safety. It's always safety is their excuse, right? So he said, well, we had concerns about the fuel safety and what could happen, and combustible fuel, people walking around, and okay, use your head first. People don't spontaneously combust because they're holding a jerry can of diesel. That's the first thing. But secondly, only a government official could be this stupid, like non-functioning brain cells between their ear. Hello, they're truck drivers. What do you think half those guys do? They drive tankers around North America. If there's anybody in the world more suited to understand fuel safety and how to manage fuel safety, that might be some truckers who drive tankers around all around Canada and the US. Huh? Maybe not some idiot bureaucrat in Ottawa who doesn't know how to fill up his tank. Maybe the guy who actually brings the fuel to the gas station and fills up the gas station might have an understanding of fuel safety. I don't know, right? Maybe I'm crazy. How stupid are these people? And then the lawyer's like, oh yeah, that's it. Only a lawyer would do that. It's so mind-numbing. It's so frustrating. Oh yeah, we had a public safety concern about some trained and experienced truck drivers and tanker drivers who fuel gas stations all over North America. We had some concerns about their ability to handle fuel. Really? Oh my God, they're so dumb. Our political class is run by the biggest morons in our society. That's it. They're just morons. It's so dumb. Anyways, Ryan says, Ryan's ex-military. He says, I use fuel, our Navy fleet, safety rarely came up. Because you're just basically trained, right? Just common, don't smoke. Don't smoke with the fuel in your hand. Okay, well, there you go. These are by the way, these are the people who make decisions for our country. And don't kid yourself, the entire all the political parties are littered with people like this. That's who's controlling the political parties. So, anyways, it's so crazy. Yep, tyrants use health and safety to take your rights. That's how it always is, right? Oh, wait. John Bob has some fuel safety advice for the government bureaucrats and the Ottawa police. Here's his safety advice. Don't drink the fuel. Oh, you know what? It's John, knowing the relative intelligence of people in Ottawa, it's a good thing you said that because they probably wouldn't know that, right? And don't lick the lithium batteries of your electric car. But anyways, and Beth, you're here. Hey, Beth. Oh, okay. You can see me now. Awesome. You guys are all here. If I want to support legal representation for truckers, civil or criminal, what's the best way to do so today? Reach out to me. Send me an email. I have a little bit of a legal team already. And given what happened with the freezing of my bank accounts and my my credit cards and my business account and my lines of credit and everything, the words class action has been going through my head. So I would, I'm going to be sitting down with some lawyers, and I would like to maybe build a team around that and make a case against the government and get everybody and lead a class action suit against the government for, I don't know, hundreds of millions of dollars, because that's what they're doing to us, for freezing all our bank accounts for the precedent that they set. I think, anyways, it's, so yeah, let me know. Send me, either send me a message here, send me an email. If you go to honkingforfreedom.com, my email is listed there at the very bottom. So just send me an email. And right now, my inflow is quite substantive. So it might take me a day or so to get back to you, but I will get back to you. So please let me know. John Bob has some more safety advice. It is lick the batteries. It's how you check if they're good. And I think you got to this is how the Ottawa bureaucrats test their batteries, right? I think they have to lick both the positive and negative terminals simultaneously. That's the intelligence of people in our political class in Ottawa. Like, they are just such morons. God, they're so dumb. They're sneaky, but otherwise they're just so dumb. That's why it's so easy to be 5 steps ahead of them all the time, as it was in messaging during the convoy. Okay, they're not going to be happy with me when I show up in Ottawa when I'm calling them all dumb, aren't they? Oh well. Esta la vida mía. You know what? When you live around a bunch of paramilitaries and narco-trafficos, you learn that some pencil pushers don't really scare you. So that's what it is. Okay, so the good for you, totally agree. Freezing the bank accounts was disgusting. And you know why freezing the bank accounts and all assets is important and why I want to pursue it? Because I think it resonates with everybody, liberals, even some progressives, everybody across the political spectrum, people who are not party aligned. No government should ever be able to freeze you out of all of your accounts and effectively try to starve you, which is what they tried to do to me, right? They tried to do that to me. And I don't know, I get different conflicting numbers how many people had accounts. I've heard 70 people had their accounts frozen up to like 350. Whatever the number is. It's time for us to go after the government and get some justice, because it's absolutely disgusting. Licking a 9-volt battery, not going to lie, I'm a little tempted. All right. So, Sonia, you were saying to me before, how does listening to all these people lie in the commission, it must make you crazy, or must upset you? It doesn't really. Like, I find it mildly entertaining. It's annoying sometimes, and other times just kind of laugh it off. And that's because of what we were discussing yesterday, the whole positive framing, and my use of the 5-minute journal is a tool that I use. I don't really use it so much anymore. I used it a lot when I was going through some really difficult times with my ex, who was very, very sick at the time. So I used it a lot then. Right now, don't really need it. I'm pretty positive, but I'll use it. I'll do the exercise once a week, once every couple of weeks, a few times a week, just kind of depending if I have some time. So we discussed the first phase of the morning process of the 5-minute journal. So I'm sharing this with you because I think for us to continue in what we're doing and putting forward this whole movement to expand our freedoms, We need to get people from across the board, from across the political spectrum, and we can't do it from a state of anxiety. We have to do it from a state of positivity so we don't let things get to us, like a bunch of people in the highest levels of government playing the victim card in the commission, right? The people with all the power who claim to be the victims, okay? So the first step we discussed was you start the morning by sitting back for a few minutes and you ask yourself the question of what are 3 things that you're grateful for to kind of shift you into the state of gratitude, which leads to positivity, and not to just write things down right away, not to every day the same thing, my kids, or like the obvious things, but the little things in that occur every day, right? So, and I gave the example of when I was crossing the border the other day and I just came out and everything was perfect, light load, truck was driving great, perfect music came on, the weather was nice, the sun was going down. Like there was just an emotional vibe to those few minutes. It was just the best moment of the day, and I don't even know exactly why. Music's a big thing for me. Maybe that has something to do with it. So the point is just to find those little things day to day that make your day amazing, and to acknowledge them and to spend time thinking about it. That's how you get out of the state of anxiety, which is what I was trying to do with messaging during the Freedom Convoy. This was my whole MO. This is why I didn't want other people going out and doing videos saying, oh, our freedoms are dying. Like, it was making me crazy. Like, I talk about that in the book, by the way, because that was a big blowout at some point. I think on the 4th of February, just before I broke my ankle, was that night. And it was, I said to the person, I'm like, I just spent weeks getting people on board with peace, love, and freedom, expanding us not to be on any spectrum, on any side of the political spectrum, just to reach out to everybody and come together. We have people from Quebec and Alberta hugging each other, sharing each other's flags, and that's because it's all around peace and positivity. That's why. You don't go that like, oh, the world is crumbling around us. Like, no, that's the opposite. And the police are watching, dumbass. Anyways, is what it is. People make mistakes, and that's, I don't want to impugn too much motive, but it is what it is, right? So, future now, I'm going to get your comments in a second, and there's like a 20-second delay anyway, so I'll get to that in a second. So, the second half of the morning routine for the 5-minute journal, first is focus on the 3 things that you're most grateful for that day, right? It could be, like, what are some things that I've written about in the past? Relationships with people, that's usually a big thing. That's a very common thing. My grandparents, my parents growing up, the life that I had, the freedoms that I have now, different projects I've done in business, different things that I've learned. Like, it could be absolutely anything, right? Okay, give me, I'll you know what? I'm getting trapped here by freedom. Give me 1 second. I'm going to get to all your comments. They're long, but I think they might be salient. I'm not sure. Okay, so the second half. So now you've gotten yourself into that state of positivity, right? So, and again, this is how I avoid getting annoyed with all these people in the commission lying. I start off the morning and I get myself into a state of gratitude and positivity. And again, I do it like once a week now. I did it on my last run, actually. The next question you ask yourself after that is, what are 3 things you're going to do? And this one's important. What are 3 things you're going to do to make today an amazing day? Because look at it, you've got yourself into the state of positivity, right? You're in the state of gratitude. You appreciate the good things around you. Now we're going to pivot from the past and the current, because sometimes we address things that have happened or things right now. Now we're going to move to the future. So we're going to build a positive future. And how do we do that? Let's outline 3 simple things you're going to do to make today an amazing day. And they could be small things. So for me, for example, I have this organizational structure that Risa has, I think, gone on board with, which is I use OmniFocus as one of my organizational programs. So one of the things I'll put is, you know what? Because sometimes OmniFocus gets behind a day or so, and it's always kind of fluid. And so I'll put, like I put earlier in this week, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to spend an hour on OmniFocus, and I'm going to get everything sorted and ready in time for my weekend review. That's a small thing I'm going to do to make it a good day. Or I'm going to call a friend that I haven't spoken to in months, or send a text message to somebody that I care about, or call my parents and figure out a time that I can see them on the weekend, which will be today in a few hours. Actually, I'm going to go visit them before they leave. So it kind of moves you into this state of you've got yourself out of potential anxiety into gratitude. That took 5 minutes or so, sometimes 10 minutes if it's a really stressful time, if the economy's bad, your kids are yelling at you or whatever. But then now that you got into that state of gratitude, it's now let's shift over to what am I going to do to continue that positive state throughout the day. Now, it sounds like something small and silly. When I first came across this, I'm like, this is not going to work. This is nonsense. This is woo-woo nonsense, right? And but then I figured, okay, I'm going to give it a try. You know what? I'm not going to be closed-minded like some of the people in the Freedom Convoy when I mentioned Bitcoin, and they're like, it's, you know. I'm open-minded, and I will try different things. And I said, okay, I'll give it a try for a week or so. And I noticed throughout that week, I had less, and I'm not terribly anxious anyways, but I had none. I had zero anxiety. Nothing was bothering me at all. This is because every day I would wake up and I would focus on the things that I have gratitude for. It would get me in a state of remembering all the things that have had a positive impact on my life. And then I moved to what are the little things I could do that's going to, and then, you know, when you write those things down, like in the example I gave, get my OmniFocus up to date and ready for my weekend review. And at the end of the day, when I go the end of the day 5-minute journal, I have it done. It's like, okay, great. You know what? I got my life together, you know, like I don't know. It's a weird thing. I highly recommend it. So Sonia, when you say, you know, it must really annoy you what they're doing in the commission, mildly annoyed to the point that I think it's funny because I just think they all lack any credibility whatsoever. So why would I care what people who have zero credibility think, right? It's annoying that I'm going to have to go in there and clarify a whole bunch of stuff, and a bunch of people I'm sure are going to try to cut me off and not allow me to, but I have a plan to deal with that. But it is what it is. And, you know, I'm lucky enough to have the opportunity to go there and to speak the truth for all of us for the freedom that were involved and supported the Freedom Convoy and clarify a few things. So I look forward to it. And the other thing is, by the way, don't believe anything you're seeing in any media. Don't believe what you're saying because there's a spin going on across the board. And I find spin is so obnoxious because everybody wants to score political points and there's no reason to. Okay, they are maintaining the narrative. They have the Trusted News Initiative, which includes all Canadian MSM convoy lawyers doing well so far, though. Who are the convoy lawyers? I'm one of the 50% of the board that's there that had to get our own lawyers, and you haven't seen them because we don't have standing. So I'm not sure who the convoy lawyers are. Okay, to point out the fake news they relied upon for intelligence. Yes, yeah, we could see that during the convoy, that they're using the CBC as sources. The CBC, I don't know how many stories they've retracted at this point, but that's definitely a big problem. David, attitude of gratitude. I'm grateful that I can go for walks, eat 3 square meals a day, and communicate with like-minded patriots. 100%. 100%. And, you know, I mentioned this before, one of my closest, I have 3 very close friends, and one of my 3 closest, very successful guy, has cerebral palsy, so he's never been able to walk, and he taught me the value of never being a victim and understanding that we all get, you know, the deck of cards that we get, and you just gotta play them the best you can. And that's what he did. And he's been more successful than most people. So it was very funny. I was at his house one time and I came to his place, I don't know, about a half hour before he showed up from work. So I come by and I'm there with his ex-wife, and he comes in, and I'm his ex-wife and his son, and he comes in, and he's like, "I got good news." I'm like, "Okay, what's the good news?" He says, "I finally got disability insurance." What's the good news? He says, "Didn't you notice I can't walk?" And I'm like, "Okay, yeah." He said, "Yeah, because I had cerebral palsy, the insurance companies decided I'm therefore disabled and I can't get disability insurance." He's like, I tried to explain to them, I've had a law practice for 10 years. I have clients. This is what I do. This is my work and whatever. Like, no, you're disabled. You can't have that. Like, that's anyways, that's the life we live in. Everybody's a victim. And by the way, scold anybody who brags about being a victim. They're pathetic. There are real victims in life, and real victims don't walk around with the victim flag. They deal with it. Some of them struggle with it. They'll get consultation and whatever, but they don't brag about it. They don't get on the stand in a commission and try to pull the victim card of how difficult their lives are and start to cry like whiny bitches. It's just crazy. Ryan, you're better than my overpriced therapist. I don't know, man. It's just kind of like, I'm just trying to help, man. So I appreciate that. I also spent so many years as a kid going to a child psychiatrist before they used to just pump people with drugs when they used to do consultation. So from a young age, I kind of learned I call it the art of observing ego and utilizing observing ego and evaluating yourself and stuff like that. So I think it's an important skill. Future now. Rule 1, get your house in order before criticizing others. BJ has read Dr. Peterson's 12 Rules book. I got to tell you, man, like for me, there was definitely a lot of good insight in there. But for me, it was a lot of like, well, who doesn't know this, right? But I guess a lot of people don't, right? And which is why he read that. But for me, a lot of it was just confirming my worldview already, and so I highly recommend the book. It's great, and he is a national treasure. Brendan Miller, Beth Sheba Vandenberg are lawyers for Convoy or the JCCF, I believe. I don't know that they're lawyers for the Convoy because I'm a member of the Convoy, and I have no idea who these people are. So. My testimony is going to be interesting, I promise. But he's doing a great job. By the way, Brendan Miller is doing an excellent job. So that's not a criticism of him or them at all. He really is great. Ottawa Gestapo popping in. If you are on Twitter, or if somebody mentioned earlier they're thinking about going back to Twitter. If you do, now that Musk is there, and as he said publicly, humor is going to be legal again on Twitter. You got to follow this account, Ottawa Gestapo. It is so funny. It is so brilliant. And man, you are a treasure. If you're just coming to Twitter for the first time or you're coming back, follow Ottawa Gestapo, and then you'll understand why Twitter is so popular. That's really what made it popular. That sort of frame of joking with before everything was cynical and people attacking each other. It's just funny memes and that sort of stuff. And God bless you, man. I love your account. You make me smile and laugh every day, and I can't thank you enough for that. Like that's another thing, Sonia. When you were asking, I'm not picking on Sonia. I just remember you asked that. Why doesn't it annoy you? All these people are doing well. First, these exercises with the 5-minute journal. But also, I make sure to laugh every day. Like, I'm always looking for comedy, humor, memes, that sort of stuff, because that also is a hedge against anxiety. Risa, how are you, sweetheart? Risa, I'm using Todoist now. It's free, and I love it. Yeah, I tried using Todoist for a while, but I need something more intricate. And the other thing is with Todoist I didn't like is if you don't have an internet connection. So sometimes when I go to the U.S. in the truck, I'm in really rural areas where there's no internet connection. And if I don't have an internet connection, then you can't see your Todoist list. Whereas with OmniFocus, it's saved locally on your device, So I can, and especially when I went to Colombia, went to South America, because I had to go there, get a SIM card, load the SIM card up. So I had a good day or so that I had no internet connection, but I had things that I had to do. So Todoist would have been a hindrance at that point because I wouldn't have been able to see my list. So that's the only limiting factor. But otherwise, it's great. It's great. Locals. We got Libby. Banks should never The banks should never have complied. Agreed, but they may not have had a choice. It's difficult to determine right now. Hopefully, during the commission, we'll find out who was putting pressure on who. Obviously, the government was putting pressure on them, but were they really against it, or did they want to do it? I don't know. It is what it is. So there you go. I don't know. But I'll do my best to find out. And that's why I think also a class action suit would be very valuable because, discovery, you'd bring out a lot of things in discovery and learn what people were doing. Oh, great. Oh, I only have 7 minutes. Okay, 7 minutes to be at the coffee shop. Okay, so I got to wind it down. So, Beth, I'm a survivor. God bless you. This doesn't mean I don't struggle. It is a good day to be alive. Exactly. Listen, everybody has struggles. Everybody goes through some stuff. Some of us worse than others, like in your case. But the rest of us are there to support you. And, if you maintain that positive frame, it becomes easier for us for other people to help you and offer support as opposed to, the people who want to be perpetual victims. Freedom Corp is a nonprofit set up by Tamara Litch. No, it's not. It is a nonprofit that was set up by Chad Eros. Was it Chad Eros? I don't know. Tim was in the room with me when we were setting it up. So they brought in Tim Turple was one of the lawyers, and we were discussing the corporate structure. It was in Tamara's room. Tamara was there too. And it had 6 board members. The 6 board members were myself, Tamara Litch, Chad Eros, Chris Guerra, Miranda. I can't remember Miranda's last name. And that was the 6 people that was on the board of Freedom Corp, of which 50% of us are not on the board. Oh, no, more than this, because Chris Barber was also on the board, right? And so Chris Barber is not on the board anymore. Tamara is not on the board anymore. I am not on the board anymore. Chad Eros is not on the board anymore. Chris Guerra is not on the board anymore. So that's 5 people who are not on the board. So I don't know who this board is. I mean, I know who a couple of people are. They were, on the ground road captains, but there's something going on there. It's quite complicated what's happening right now. And Chad was, for all the people who are asking me about the money, Chad was the treasurer. Chad is the one who controlled the money and was in charge of it, and he has submitted numerous affidavits and done financial filings with the bankruptcy trustee who holds the money in escrow. So for everybody who's like, oh, he's a Fed and took the money, then you can go look at the filings with the bankruptcy trustee where Chad, who was in control of the money, has outlined absolutely everything and where it is. So there you go. Calling yourself a victim is one of the biggest disservices you can do to yourself, 100%. You're sabotaging yourself. If you think you're a victim, you're just putting yourself into a negative headspace, and you're not going to be able to progress, and that's just the way it is. Okay, so future, yeah, agreed. Ottawa Gestapo on Twitter is funny AF. Yeah, he's amazing. He's awesome. You guys are all great, and Future Now I appreciate it as well. And by the way, Future Now, all those things that I'm just outlined, there's a reason I'm doing that, because there's so much lies going on across the board around this commission, and it's because you have one political party versus another political party. That's what's going on there. And both of those political parties, by the way, don't want to have to talk about the Freedom Convoy in the next election. So remember that. That is important. Okay, listen. All the banks on the white list, that I don't know. I don't know what you mean. But I got to run right now. I'm going to be late for John. I got to be there in 4 minutes down the street. Listen, we'll talk more about this 5-minute journal stuff. Please give it a try. I'm telling you, you're going to love it. They're from Canada. I think they're from Toronto, if I'm not mistaken. Either Ontario or Quebec. But it's amazing. And I hope it helps. Ryan, what you said was kind of I know I glossed over it, but that's one of the nicest things anybody has said to me, and I really appreciate it. I'm glad that I'm helping. I'm just trying to do my best for us all to kind of come together. And, when I talk about, I clarify things in the commission, that's not to be divisive. That's just to be honest. So we know that the truth, and we're dealing with objective facts, not subjective opinions, right? So that's why I want to clarify things. That's all. I don't have any animosity towards anybody, to be very entirely honest. That's just my, I'll joke with Slowly, for example, but I also do sympathize with his position, especially when you have everybody trying to throw you under the bus. Regardless of the fact that I completely disagree with his worldview, I feel sympathy for anybody who's in that position. So that is what it is. I got to run. I hope I've answered all your questions. I hope I didn't. I know I missed a few of them. I apologize. I do love this one. Yes, the Canadian truckers showed us the way. That's the Dutch farmers. And God bless you all. You're amazing. Okay, I got to run. It's getting late. I love you. And